Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Oil Drop Podcast. Today is Sunday, January the 6th, 2019, and myself here, James, is joined by Adam, Sweet44722 on Reddit. Shortly, we should be joined by Arun. I just had a prior engagement to take care of this morning, so hopefully we'll be seeing him soon. So I guess the first topic that we had kind of laid out beforehand was the trades that the Oilers made recently. So they made two trades recently. So they got Brandon Manning from the Chicago Blackhawks, and they traded away Drake Cagguila, and they also picked up Alex Petrovic from the Florida Panthers. What do you make of those trades, Adam?
I mean, there's not really a whole lot you can say except for the fact that they just seem like they just seemed like Chee's attempt to save a team that can't be saved right now, and to save a season that he's kind of put the team into anyway. Like they're nonsense trades to me. Drake Cagguila was our fifth highest scoring forward. No, he was fourth. He was fourth. He was the fourth highest scoring forward. You traded him and a pick for a depth defenseman that's gonna have no impact on the team. The Wideman for Petrovic trade, I kind of get a little bit because Petrovic isn't as bad as he could be. He's a depth defenseman that can actually do stuff. The Brandon Manning trade I have a problem with. Trading your fourth leading scorer for a guy who injured your star player 3 years ago, who was despised by Oilers fans, who has a terrible contract, by the way, still on for another year at $2.25 million. So we actually took on salary for this, and who is known to be a bad player, so bad in fact that Flyers fans said they forgot about Andrew McDonald, who was notoriously bad because Brandon Manning was so bad last year.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't make any sense. It's a bad move. It's Chiarelli trying to smooth it over by saying we're making depth defensemen. We're requiring depth to fill the gaps. And even when Jason Gregor tried to prod him a little bit, he got pretty defensive pretty quick. I didn't like him.
Inspiration, yes. So welcome to Arun. He joined us a minute or so late there, but sir, what do you make of these trades that the Oilers made?
Okay, so the first one makes sense to me. Petrovic, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the trade, just because we're adding contract, and we're getting a guy that essentially was scratched, 11 games this season? And unnecessarily, I'm not trying to be, overly cautious here or anything, but suggesting that, he's been declining, even for a young guy, that's not great. That being said, giving a guy like that a chance while Garrison is... was it Garrison that we sent off? I forget the names.
Yeah, Garrison is going. Yeah.
Yeah. For Petrovic, was it Garrison or was it someone else?
It's Garrison.
Right, okay. So Garrison that we sent off, it works, but at the same time, I'm cautious that about it. It's a pretty standard Chiarelli trade. What I am more concerned about is the other trade that you mentioned, Adam, where essentially it looks, for all intents and purposes, that we are getting or going to look worse from it. Because essentially we went from a situation of we don't have any top 3 level defensemen to fill in for Clefbaum. And now we are also left, and we also didn't have very many wingers, and now we have fewer wingers. And now we have to put in guys like Cassian, who can't produce points for the life of them, into a top line role because we don't have anyone to fit in that top line role.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have anyone to fit in that second line role. Nugent Hopkins' production has slowed tremendously outside of power play time, just because he has no wingers.
I think it's a damning statement. So Jonathan Willis tweeted yesterday during the game that 7 periods into Oilers' career. Now, this is worth noting that we don't put a lot into plus minus, but Brandon Manning and Petrovic have been on the ice for a combined total of 1 goal, 4 and 5 respectively goals against.
1 goal, 4, and the rest against.
4 against Manning, 5 against Petrovic. Gravel plays 6 minutes and 30 more tonight than Brandon Manning, but Shirelli thinks Manning brings more because he has more experience and is more physical. Let's see if I can find any of the other ones here.
Look, I think it's a testament to the fact that pretty much all of Chicago Twitter, including news reporters, were celebrating that they got rid of that contract. That is the biggest testament to how bad that trade was.
I think their Corsi is like something like, I think Manning's Corsi is like 28%, something like that right now, 28.4%. It's the Petrovic trade is minorly defensible in the fact that you could say he's a better depth defenseman than some of our other players. But the at the end of the day, that Manning trade is indefensible. And by the way, news came out today. So when we made the trade, Jason Garrison was waived by the Panthers. Garrison actually, Garrison went. Wadman went to the Panthers. Garrison went to
The Blackhawks.
Blackhawks. The Dennis Wideman has now been waived as well.
Oh yeah, Chris Wideman went to the.
So both defensemen we traded have been waived. It's getting to the point where, and I'm seeing this with other people too, is that I'm genuinely anxious to see what Chiarelli's going to do in the next few months if he isn't fired before the end of the season, because his panic trades have been awful in the past. This wasn't even a big trade, and he fucked it up so hard that I don't know what's coming.
Yeah, it smells of desperation, and I guess that he even got the okay from McDavid to trade for Manning last.
Anyone can say that he got the okay.
Well, I know.
McDavid's like, can I get this guy? It's like McDavid's not going to go say no. He's never been a guy to say no.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like, don't run it by McDavid. This is not McDavid's decision. This is your thing. Like, why would it even be brought up that McDavid okayed it?
I guess the reason he okayed it is because of the injury. But even then, McDavid's a professional. He's been raised to be very non-confrontational and all that off the ice. So he's never going to say, no, don't trade for him. He broke my collarbone. But realistically, if someone went up, broke your collarbone, next game made fun of you for it, and then you're gonna okay trade for that? No. He literally said after the game, he said, we know what kind of character he has. McDavid, I mean, we don't know the guy personally, but from all intents and purposes, we can tell he doesn't like the guy. Edmonton hates Brandon Manning, or hated Brandon Manning. This trade made no sense. And not only that, it made us worse.
It's not like a Cassian level trade, but there is a bunch of potential that's there that's waiting to be tapped or unlocked, right? This is just straight up a bad player.
It made us worse.
Manning is brutal, and his cap hit is, I think, like $750,000 more than Caggiula's.
Yep.
No, it should be high. No, it should be higher. Caggiula's is a really low cap hit.
Caggiula's 1.5, and
never mind.
Manning is 2.25.
I'm gonna grab myself a little bit of water. You guys continue talking.
Rob Chakowski said last night. Said that was a grim post-game. That was as grim a post-game dressing room as I've seen in a long time. I've been around since Rob Nilsson, Sam Gagner, Andrew Colgiano, and Tom Gilbert were the cornerstones of the first rebuild. Bob Stauffer called it Lucic. Questioned his compete against his former teammates, who he's friends with on the offseason. I don't know, man. Like, the only good thing to come out of this is Jason Gregor has gotten to the point where he's so fed up with the team that he's now actively writing against them, which is a good thing because Jason Gregor is fun.
I was going to say, Jason Gregor has a way with words where he makes them like really cut and mean something. I mean, we all read his article a couple weeks ago.
Chiarelli's done the impossible.
Yeah, Chiarelli's done the impossible, like destroyed the Oilers while stumbling onto Connor McDavid. Like he bird boxed into Connor McDavid,
Yeah, it's been, and that piece was a slam piece without being a slam piece, and that's why I liked it. It's a good read, and to be honest, the more like he's the only, like, he's been asking good questions. I've been really approving what he's doing lately, but more the media needs to do this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. The media in Edmonton, I don't know what it is, but traditionally the media in Edmonton has really given the team a pass. Like, they're really soft on the Oilers organization. I'm not really sure why, because in markets like Montreal and Toronto and New York and whatnot, like they're as hockey crazy as we are, but they're so much harder on the team. When the team sucks, they know about it. And I don't really understand why that doesn't happen here. I mean, I don't know if it's people like Terry Jones. They've been around since the 80s, so they're friends with the people in ownership or management or blah, blah, blah. I don't even know, but they're just always so soft on the team, and that should have stopped, honestly, like a decade ago. Because a decade ago was 2009 when they drafted Magnus PRV in the first round. And, like, that's insanity.
I imagine that it's probably, I would hope it started to turn a little bit.
I will point out about Magnus PRV, the big reason, the big pull for him was the fact that he still led all players in the under 20 tournament or under 21 tournament. I forget which one it was. The under 18 or under 21 in goals scored by any player. So that was a big pull that he had in his favor, and the number of goals that he scored was on par with some big figureheads too.
Not. Well, I mean, it's not really
in play. He wasn't a big scorer. That's the thing.
No. After that point, it just became obvious that he just doesn't have any finish.
No, but I mean, like, even with his lead play in Sweden before he came over, he played with Timra. Him and Anton Lander played together, and he just, I don't know.
He couldn't put it in the back of the net. That was the biggest complaint about him. But because he had such a good breakout performance in that tournament, people were going, there is potential that, like, this guy could be the next big goal scorer. It was a really overstated.
Adam, what were you going to say?
I was going to say I don't know, it just seems, that the people are hesitant to throw the management team under the bus, but let's be real here. We haven't seen any progress in the last 12 years now, and it's been, I mean, how far up does this go? Does this go to Cats?
No.
I have no idea.
The Oilers have been mediocre since before Cats. This isn't a Cats problem.
Cates,
yeah.
The Oilers have one top 10 finish in the NHL in the last 30 years. Two in the last 30 years. That makes it so much better.
It's not one.
Is that endemic of the OBC that's been sticking around then since the 80s, or is that just like at this point because I'm in the 90s Oilers, I get it because they were 90s and Oilers 2000s weren't great teams. They were hard working, so they weren't great. But
look, I'm gonna look at the top of the NHL standings, and I want you to tell me among these guys who is like coaching to an old school style, like your style that's not like necessarily 5 years ago, but let's say like 10 years ago. Tampa, no. Toronto, absolutely not. They have the youngest GM or second youngest GM. Calgary, no. Vegas, that's a different case altogether. I'm not going to talk about Vegas, but the style they play is super fast. Nashville, no. San Jose, no. Winnipeg, no. Washington, no. Pittsburgh, no. Boston, yes. But even then, no. Because what they're prioritizing is speed and fast and quick. And all those guys all have GMs that understood that the game changed. Rather than sticking around and understanding that the game changed, what we did was we went and got Team Canada's former head. We went, you know how to put together a team when you have the world's resources in front of you in order to assemble. You got the right GM at that time. I want you to get the right GM. They fired Mac T, brought in Peter Chiarelli. All great, all wonderful, all lovely. And even now, I would say that T-Mac, outside of media relations, did everything better than Shia has. We didn't change. We stayed the same. It's just we put lipstick on a pig kind of thing. Where all we did was we got people that think the same. It's all people that think exactly alike. The only person that thought differently was Eakins, And even then, he gave up after 5 games.
Well, Eakin's strategy as a whole was just awful. I'm not going to go into Eakin's, but let's be real here. I don't really like. What is it going to take to get Peter Shirley fired? Like Nicholson.
At this point, trading Nugent Hopkins.
I don't even think he'll get fired then. I think he'll justify it somehow and say he's improving the team.
I think he'll be fired. He'll probably be fired at the end of this season.
It needs to happen now. Like we're 4.
If we finish bottom 5 this season, well, he'll definitely get fired.
The problem is we're only 4 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah, we're only 4 points out of a playoff spot. That's also because we're in the goddamn Pacific. We're 23rd in the league.
That's what I'm saying. We should be. Yesterday was an abomination of a game. We should be playing much harder than for a team that's 4 points out of a fucking playoff spot. But B, Peter Chiarelli still technically has, for all intents and purposes of management, done his job by keeping us in the playoffs. So he's going to try to do something to keep us in the playoff picture. Like, I don't know what, but I'm terrified to find out because his job relies on him making the playoffs. It's already been said by Nicholson that if he makes the playoffs, his job is safe. And
so the other thing that I really want to point out, like you mentioned, sorry, I'm interrupted now, because I get annoyed by that. Oh, we're only so many points out of a playoff spot. Yeah, we're also freaking 5 points away from the bottom of the league.
I'm not denying that, but what I'm saying is that, like, we're scary close to the playoffs.
Spot.
We're in no man's land. We're in between free fall and real close to making the promised land. But the man in charge,
we've lost 6 of 7, so
the man in charge isn't the man to get us there. And Ken Hitchcock even got to the point yesterday where he didn't know what to say, and he had to walk out of the dressing room saying, "I've said enough. If I say any more, I'm going to get myself in trouble." The second winningest coach in the NHL is at a loss for words with this roster.
Look, no. What he did say was he did say to media that he was happy that he brought in these guys, like his type of defenseman, as he put it. But the problem is that, like, what coach on the goddamn planet is going to come forward and say, "No, I hate the news that my GM made. They're horrible. We got worse. We have fewer wingers. I don't know what we're going to do with this." No coach is going to say that. Not even the coach that knows he's only coaching for this season. He's not going to say that.
No.
You will literally not get an honest answer after trades have been made. Everything is a positive. You can't get honest answers. So let's move on a little bit here. I mean, the Oilers are 2-7-1 in their last 10 games. So this is still in the same universe of what we're talking about, but like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this team gonna do?
I'm free falling.
Look, the funny thing is, Anaheim is also free falling. It's just like they managed to put it together in parts where we didn't, and that's the only reason they're above us. Like, they have been losing straight up. They're also like lost 5 of their last 6 games.
I think they've lost 6 in a row, I think is what they said last night.
Anaheim?
Anaheim.
No. They're on a 1-game losing streak. They won without Gibson one night. Gibson's lost 6 games in a row.
No, they've lost 7 in a row, dude.
Trust me, I've been on my fantasy roster.
They've lost 7 in a row on score. Anaheim's lost 7 in a row.
What?
On NHL.com,
I am looking at the NHL.com standings. What the hell are you talking about?
The score says they've lost 7 in a row here.
Yeah, the score might say a lot of things. I'm literally looking at the NHL.com standings.
All right, so what I'm learning is don't use the score for shit.
Yeah, don't use the score.
All right.
Hi. I'd like everyone to know, though, don't use the score, okay?
We're definitely not sponsored by them. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay. Anyway, the main difference right now, between when Hitchcock started and now, is there were a couple of people who were pointing. I'd like to fully admit I was in denial at the time. I thought that the team was finally reaching their potential. There were a number of people who pointed out that our goaltending stats and our Corsi and our Fenwick and save percent all of our advanced stats were showing that we were playing far above the level we were actually at.
Yeah.
And that once our goaltending came back down to earth, we'd start playing like shit again.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, Koskinen is no longer a god. Talbot is Talbot, and we've started losing a bunch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the main difference between us and Anaheim right now is Anaheim was injured to hell. Apparently tonight they were saying on Hockey Night in Canada yesterday that Fowler and Raquel could be back tonight. We get Chris Russell back tonight, but the main difference being is John Gibson is having a Vezina level season and is carrying the Anaheim Ducks on their back since the beginning of the season, and we had 2.5 weeks of good goaltending.
No, they're getting Carlisle hockey. If they get their guys back, I have no confidence that they're going to do well. One thing I will point out about Anaheim's big difference compared to us isn't the fact that, I will admit, yes, they have had a lot of injuries. Losing Raquel for the duration that they have is bad or whatnot. But at the same time, one of the biggest problems for Anaheim is simply the fact that their big names are not showing up. Getzlaf is having a horrible season. Sorry, am I lagging?
Nope.
You're good.
Getzlaf is having a horrible season. Perry is just turning to Perry. New Perry. That shouldn't probably get into the Hall of Fame if he continues playing like this, Perry. But he will. And who else? Who else can I name off the top of my head here? Their defenders are looking like garbage still, and not to mention the fact that Gibson, even with as strong of a season as he's having, if I were to name a guy to win the Vezina this season, I would still put like a handful of other guys above him, and that has a lot to do with Gibson just playing badly, especially in this latest stretch of games. That's my points about Anaheim. I did want to point out something really quickly about advanced stats. I know we use advanced stats quite often, and the biggest one we use is Corsi. But considering that we have Petrovic now, I do want to point out it is important. This is more for viewers than for ourselves, I will point out. There is limitations to Corsi. Corsi is not the be-all, end-all in terms of being able to determine how effective or ineffective a player is. The more effective advanced stat in order to do that is expected goals, where you basically weigh shots based upon the location that they're coming from, rather than considering every shot as the same. The reason I'm pointing this out is Petrovic has a positive Corsi, which is wonderful, but pretty sure, unless someone can correct me, he's had a putrid, and I mean putrid, expected goals for. And that's his big problem. It's the fact that when he's out on the ice, you can expect to get scored against.
So, James...
His PDO, his career PDO is like 94.
Yeah, he wasn't always like that, though. That's just been the last couple of seasons, I feel like. I feel like he was solid.
This season, his expected goals for is like 40 or 35%.
Yeah, I honestly thought he was pretty solid when he first got into the league.
He was. Really good rookie season. That's why they protected him over Marchessault and Riley Smith.
Yeah.
No.
Right. And what a mistake that turned out to be.
He's fallen off a cliff the last year and a half.
Huge mistake,
So what the hell do we do to fix this team?
At this point, you got to look at another rebuild. Is that bad?
Yeah, I mean, step one is getting rid of Chiarelli, but, that doesn't do anything for the long term. I mean, whoever you bring in, they're still handcuffed with Milan Lucic. There's still no plan for goaltending long term. Your number one defenseman is still made of glass, and we have about 8 defensemen that belong on the third pairing.
No, I would say one thing is the number one defenseman is a great number one defenseman. It's just he is like the Taylor Hall of luck when it comes to playing for the Oilers and being injured. Like the moment that Taylor Hall left this team, he starts playing full NHL seasons. It's amazing. That's why, literally, the reason why Taylor Hall has not had a 70-point or a 80-point plus season before was because he was never healthy for a full season. The moment he leaves this team, he's injured again, and then he's cured of the bug, and now is sitting at a healthy, 73 points, 37 points in 33-ish games played.
Look, all I'm saying is that Clefbaum turns 26 this summer, and he's had one full healthy season in his career. That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
When he's on, he's really, really good.
He is on. Like, when he is on, I would compare him to the top 5 defensemen in the league.
I wouldn't go that far, but he's
no, like, I'm not talking in terms of like producing offense, that kind of thing. I'm talking about Pickles. I always forget his actual name. I always remember it like Pickles. Vlasic. I compare him to Vlasic in terms of being an absolutely shut down defensive kind of role.
No, I still wouldn't. I would say he's a top 20 defenseman. He's good enough that you want him on your team, and he's absolutely a number one pairing defenseman for the team. And he elevates those around him, but he can't stay healthy, and it's not even always his fault. Like the staph infection was unfortunate. After surgery.
This season's where the puck hit him in the hand. That was unfortunate.
He didn't.
That's just a pure luck accident.
Block the shot. It just hit him. But the problem is, like years past, you could look at the team and go, you know what? Like, I'd move that piece out for this piece, or I could potentially do this. I honestly don't even know where to start with this roster besides the defense. Like, we need defense and wingers. We need to draft better, but we're so cap locked right now that in order to get rid of Lucic's contract, you need to eat salary. By the way, yesterday's game made it 2 goals in 83 games.
Actually, over the full season mark.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 1 goal in a full calendar year, or 2 goals in a calendar year.
That is.
I had a friend that kept going on about how she loved Lucic and was so happy they traded Taylor Hall. I sent her a tweet of the fact that she's only scored 2 goals in 82 games. She no longer follows me on Twitter.
Nice.
I mean, I don't follow you on Twitter, so. But it's just like I don't know where to begin. To be fair, we have 4 contracts past the next expansion, which is McDavid, Draisaitl, Clefbaum, and Lucic.
Oh, that's nice. That's 3 of our biggest.
Yeah, but then we also have to re-sign Nugent Hopkins. We have to re-sign Nurse. We have to re-sign Larson. We have to
Pugliarvi. Try to figure out what the hell to do with Pugliarvi.
Pugliarvi, Yamamoto, Benson, Jones, Bear. 2 goalies that we're going to pull out of our ass because I don't think either of these guys are going to cut it. The rest of the defensemen, any wingers that want to stick around. Jujhar Khaira is probably getting another contract because he deserves one. Brodziak, Cassian, Chiasson might get a contract depending on what happens. Like it's.
When is the expansion again?
2021.
So 21-22. That's the first season.
Yeah.
So the draft would take place in the summer of 2021.
Yeah.
That's a long way away.
It's
okay.
Yeah.
So 19.
Good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing because you're gonna have great options available for us in terms of contracts for the expansion. It's a bad thing in the sense that we have a GM that loves giving out candy in the form of NMCs.
Lucic still has 2 years left on his contract at that point, so I figure we'll be granted at least 1 compliance buyout, so we would be able to finally get rid of him at that point. But other than that, yeah, shit. I don't know with this team, man.
Yeah, just to point out for everyone, the most searched for player for compliance buyout, or buyout in general, in cap friendly, is Lucic.
The problem is it's not even feasible. The buyout, the way they structured the contract, the buyout is like a kick in the balls every single year. It's not logical to buy him out right now. It's literally better to stick him on the 4th line, hope he doesn't play like complete ass, and just use the cap space up, because like the unused cap space that we're saving on him isn't that much. It's not.
He's on pace for. We're halfway through the season, so next pass we have to do our halfway rankings. By the way, our card.
Oh God.
So he's on pace for like 16 points this season. That is like 15 or 16 points this season. That's what he's on pace for. That's
2 points a million.
God.
And I can't remember when is the last time he hasn't got a point. I think in about 8 games.
So the thing is, I looked at the 2021 buyout time frame. 2021 being the summer of 2021, where he has another 4 years left on his contract, by the way, after that point. Or no, 2 years left, but the buyout period will go for another 4 more years. The cap hit actually will not be anywhere near, like, significant. Like, he'll still have, in that 2021 season, a cap hit of $4.1 million. In the 2022 season, he'll have a cap hit of $5.6 million. And then in the remaining 2 years, it'll be about $583,000.
So the only time it ever saves his money is the last year.
The only time is the last 2 years, actually, during the buyout period, when we're paying about $600,000 for a guy that's not playing for the team, or to not play on the team. In the meantime, the actual savings that you're getting in a season will be about less than $2 million the first season, and less than $1 million, less than $500,000 in the second season. They made his contract so buyout proof that pretty much 85% of his salary is in bonuses, and you can't move a bonus. A bonus must be paid during that year.
You know what? This might go down as one of the worst contracts
ever
in NHL history.
Ever. This might be this is up there with Yashin.
With DiPietro and
okay, DiPietro's a different case, but that's a shitty contract. I won't.
Like Clarkson.
This is like Brizgalov.
Brizgalov, yeah. It's in that category with Brizgalov, where he's just sitting around waiting for that contract to end. And in our situation, it's not 4 years like it was with Brizgalov.
Yeah, Brizgalov is on Philadelphia's salary for like the next dozen years or more.
Is he that long? Was he 7 years?
A fucking long time.
You know what the worst part is? We were all optimistic he was going to make a difference.
And I was optimistic he was going to make a difference for 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, no, I absolutely acknowledge. I think we had said that. I think we had agreed that the absolute highest amount he could make an impact for was 3 to 4 years, but like he's been the first year he was a player, and now he's just been utter shit for a year and a half.
Yeah, you're right. Brizgalov was being paid until 2027 by Philly.
Oh.
For $1.64 million.
Like, he's got it made. Like, what a guy.
Oh.
He does. He essentially has it made.
All right. So, we're at a loss for words. McDavid has been named the captain of the Team Pacific of the All-Star Game for the 3rd year in a row. Do you think he'll tune in the All-Star Game festivities? And do you think Leon Draisaitl should be there as well?
I will tune in, and I'll watch, like, this skills competition, if nothing else. And I might just have the All-Star Game on in the background. I wouldn't actually watch it, and pay close attention. And then as far as Draisaitl goes, I mean, why not? I don't know. He's on pace for like 100 points, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I get it. But the thing is that, like, I don't know. Like, I can just pull up from Calgary alone, like, 3 players that I think deserve to be on there more than he does. God.
He's so good.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah, Calgary. Yeah. There's Giordano right now, freaking
Matthew Tkachuk.
Tkachuk, Monahan, Lindholm would put below Draisaitl for sure. But that's just like a few of the players on Calgary and in Pacific. If I were to pick other divisions, like there's plenty of players that deserve to go over Draisaitl.
Well, it's 1 player per division they're adding, but yeah,
obvious.
I'll like same thing as James. I'll probably watch the skills comp. I like the skills comp.
Can I be honest about the All-Star game? I hope McDavid says he has the flu and doesn't go.
He won't do that. Not at this point in his career.
I know he won't do that, but I hope he does because he is playing a lot of minutes every night. He needs a break.
I can say the amount of bullshit that people are digging up over Ovechkin not going is really pissing me off. Do you know how many years Crosby's sick or injured he hasn't gone and never faced repercussions?
Exactly. Crosby is 31, and this is only his 4th All-Star game.
Yep.
It's McDavid will go until he's probably 27, 28, in which case he can probably bow out and say, I don't really need to go anymore. He probably won't because it's McDavid, but Crosby has refused to go a few times. Why the hell couldn't McDavid?
Mm-hmm.
In his season, honestly, I hope McDavid doesn't go. Like, I know I'm like standing on the periphery saying this, like this weird statement in it for some, but it's just I want McDavid to be healthy. And I want McDavid to be not injured, and I don't want McDavid to burn out. And I think the latter is the most concerning thing for me.
The game's in San Jose, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, San Jose. That's why most players are San Jose.
That's not too far to travel. I mean,
no, it's not. The travel's not an issue, but it's more so the rest of the team gets 4 days off, and then we have a bye week a couple weeks later.
Yeah. No, I hear you. So they brought in who they got? Burns, Carlson,
Pavelski.
Yeah.
Pavelski doesn't deserve to be there. That's ridiculous.
No, Pavelski was good
for Pavelski's second in goal scored. No, third in goal scored.
I don't know, man.
I mean, he doesn't deserve to be there.
Over the other players in the division that could have gone?
No, yeah. Look. I don't agree with that statement because Pavelski is still playing a great season.
I don't agree with the fact that he's been better than Mark Giordano.
But he's a forward.
But he's a forward.
All right, then I think he's been better than Matt Tkachuk.
I think Matt Tkachuk is worse than him. That's my statement on that.
It hurts me inside, but I think Matt Tkachuk's played better than him this year. Anyway, I'll probably watch the skills comp. I don't know if I'm going to bother watching the actual game. Like you said, I'll probably have it in the background.
I'm hoping someone comes up with a condensed format video that covers all the big events of what happens in the All-Star game, and I'll just watch that. I'm with you on that.
Yeah. All right. So yesterday, Finland won the World Junior Hockey Championships with a 3-2 win over the USA for the gold medal. Russia beat Switzerland 4-1 for the bronze. And Canada...
What happened to Canada?
Handed. You know what? So Canada next year is with USA and Russia. It's gonna be a tough group. What do you guys make of that next year?
Gonna be an entertaining group, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
Canada, for the people that missed it, lost in the quarters to Finland.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I said this last cast, and I thought that it felt like a real down year for talent across the board. And I still think that it was. The American team in particular, I thought that if we had made it to the gold medal game, I thought Canada should have beaten them. Canada never really got going. In the post-game interviews with Canada after the Finns beat them, they were asking, like, okay, do you think that, Canada really ever hit their stride? And, of course, the players gave these politically correct answers. But the answer is no. Canada never really hit their stride offensively. Mike DiPietro was very good. Their defense was kind of like a defense by committee. There wasn't a real standout number one like Thomas Chabot or Darnell Nurse in years past. Evan Bouchard was good, not great.
Which is supposed to be how he usually plays.
Yes. So, I mean, it's going to – I don't know. I was disappointed. I thought Canada could have won, but I don't know. Next year with the Americans and the Russians in their group, it sets them up for, a real tough go.
Although one difference will be we will get a what's his name again? The big guy that played this year. Pardon?
Alexei Lafreniere.
Lafreniere, yeah. We're gonna get him with a little bit of experience and more maturity. So that should make a bit of an impact. But still, to this point, I think fundamentally speaking, I don't think Canada has capacity to go like I think they'll do well every year rather. Sorry. But I just think the attitude in Hockey Canada is just wrong.
Yes.
At this point in time, where they prioritize guys with higher pedigree instead of guys that are doing better now.
Yeah, it's like the word isn't nepotism, but it kind of is nepotism. Like they pick their guys and they roll with those guys. You know, like Mike.
That's why Camtois got the penalty shot attempt.
Yeah, or that's like DiPietro is a great goalie, but it was like there were never any other options seriously considered to be the goalie for Team
Canada
tournament.
Yeah,
players like Alexis Lafreniere, honestly, like the team next year is going to be built around him, the forwards, but for this year, he was invisible, and I would argue that he should not have been on the team. There were better options for Canada to bring, and because he is the next guy or whatever, he's on the team. And Team Canada fucking does this. It drives me up the fucking wall that Team Canada does this. It's just like it reeks of lazy scouting and it reeks of nepotism.
I'm gonna jump in really quick as well. Like even like I know DiPietro had a great tournament and played fantastically. But that being said, going into the tournament, the guy with better numbers was Ian Scott.
Yeah.
He had a 1.62 and a .940 save percentage in 28 games played, and he didn't even get a lick. Like, he got a little bit of that game against, Denmark? Yeah. I don't even know if he played that game.
Played their second game against the Swiss.
Yeah. He did. But at the end of the day, like, even during the preseason games where they played Sweden, I believe it was, and they lost, or even then where people were complaining, oh, DiPietro looked shaky, but Hunter came forward and said there's never any kind of chance in hell, like, I'm going to not go with DiPietro, which at that point I'm really questioning, like, do you understand the fact that, like, this isn't a playoff series. This is one game, one win kind of situation.
Tim Hunter needs to be out. Like
Tim Hunter needs to be out. Yes.
It's just this consistent OBC thing again with Hockey Canada. It's very similar to how the Oilers are run, except Hockey Canada has the wealth of the best young players on the planet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like I mean, like the concerning thing for me is this defense core was actually half decent, and next year's won't be that level. They won't have Noah Dobson. They won't have Evan Bouchard next year. It's gonna be. They're never gonna be a team that's struggling to find players, but they're gonna be a team that might have a hard time competing against a team that might bring more players back. The Swiss have 17 players and 2 goaltenders coming back next year, and they beat us out. They got a higher position than we did. Like it's now.
They look better than we do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to be fair, they didn't. The Swiss don't have better players. It's 100% they don't. But their coach knows how to coach. They have players that buy into a system and a system that works. And they showed that system against the Swedes. They showed that they got outmatched quite hard by the Russians, but they showed that team against the Finns, and the Finns were against the Russians. The Russians were a better team overall. They got trounced by Finland. But that is a team with young players who bought into a system that's going to be back next year, and I guarantee they're going to have a better showing than we do unless Hockey Canada changes something.
So let's just jump in here, and instead of talking about the negatives, unless you want to add something here, James.
Nope, go on.
Okay. Let's talk about, just in general, all teams, including the Canadian teams. What were some guys that you really thought were standout and like you enjoyed watching them play, or you felt as though they really made an impact? And let's start off with the Hughes versus Kakko.
Jack Hughes was injured for half the tournament. Yeah. So I actually didn't see him play very much.
He was still a point per game. He scored 4 assists in 4 games.
4 assists in 4 games for an underage player. Like, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's pretty good. He's got great hands. He looks more like, obviously, as evidenced by 4 assists in 4 games, he looks more like a playmaker / dangler than a sniper. But, I mean, he looks fucking great, honestly. And Kakko, he scored the
5
game winning
points in 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? I mean, as an underage player, that's still really good. He was like snake bit for a lot of the tournament. You know, he only got the one goal, but like he was really good. I was impressed by him.
Slepets stood out to me in the last couple of games because I watched the Russians' last couple of games. He was quite good. He's like 5'9", 150 pounds. He's tiny. Oh, sorry, 5'7".
What's his name? Sorry?
Slepets for the Russians.
Slepets.
He's literally my size, and I can't say that about many hockey players. Quite literally my size. His skating is phenomenal. He is a hell of a skater. He's undrafted. That said, he's also one of those players who has a good showing at the tournament and then tends to not be able to follow it up. There's always that one or two players, but his skating was arguably the best in the tournament. He was that good. He had a hat trick in the gold medal game, or in the bronze medal game yesterday. He dominated the Finns when he had the puck. He was the only player who showed up against the Americans for the Russians, ready to play. So it was fun to watch him. Other than that, I think I'm trying to remember, Kratsov for the Swiss was really good. He's a player I'm going to watch the next few years because he's a Chicago Blackhawks prospect, because of course he is. But he was the best Swiss player when their goalie wasn't saving their asses. Kratsov was good.
Yeah, solid.
For me, someone that stood out was Alexei Heponiemi.
I was going to mention.
He's a Finnish center. He was drafted by the Panthers in 2017, and he played 2 seasons for the Swift Current Broncos in the Dub, and he went back to Finland this year to play. But last year, he got 118 points in 57 games. Like he's a good playmaker. You know, he's still pretty tiny, but like if he can overcome the size thing, I think he could be a real slick playmaker for the Panthers and have a nice 1-2 punch of Barkov and Heponiemi. Like Heponiemi was great. Who else really stood out for the Americans? Ryan Poehling was good. I think for me the best Canadian, Morgan Frost, probably.
Oh, damn it!
Be the best Canadian. But honestly, other than him, like no Canadian forwards really grabbed me. So
Suzuki was playing well until we hit the quarterfinals and then just disappeared. I mean, most of the team disappeared for that game, to be fair.
Mind you, that was a single game, so I understand what's happening there.
Nick Suzuki was decent,
okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Among, I guess, because, you guys mentioned my players. I was going to mention it was going to be Heponiemi and Morgan Frost. What I will point out is Alexeyev is traditionally considered to be a very defensive defenseman for the Russians. He really let his offensive side flare out in this tournament with 6 points in 7 games. So once again, that's the Washington Capitals drafting another defenseman, in this case defenseman, that might come out to be brilliant. But the bigger standout to me, and I know the Swedish team didn't go far because they lost to the Swiss in the quarters. But Eric Brandstrom, whenever he had the puck, looked like a he looked like an adult amongst children.
Drafted him.
Pardon?
Who drafted him? Do you know?
Vegas.
Really? Okay.
Vegas drafted Eric Brandstrom. He looked ridiculously good, like legitimately where I was like, wow, what the heck? How is he like? I didn't know I didn't remember him being this good. Another like weird player that I will point out, and I'm pointing it out just for funsies. Artur Gatianatov is a Kazakhstan player, and the reason I'm pointing him out is in points per game, he is second in the entire tournament. 8 points in 6 games. Yes, 5 goals, 3 assists. He's undrafted. I don't know if this is his draft year, but I just know he's undrafted.
Yeah.
That's just a fun stat I wanted to pull out. Highest in points per game was Morgan Frost, and points leaders were Denis Stanko and Heponiemi. I thought Cody Glass was okay. He sort of disappeared again. I think more concerning in all of this, and this is probably not great news if you're a Carolina Hurricanes fan or if that's your second team, is I really thought that Martin Nikas really disappeared in this tournament. I know he put up 4 points in 5 games, but he's basically like a guy that is pretty much 21 who dominated last year's tournament. I think he had close to the most points in that tournament. I might be completely wrong. I apologize if I am. But he didn't look nearly as good, and potentially he looks like he's regressing, which is not good things to hear after Carolina trades away most of their defensive or their offensive players for pretty much scraps, and now looks like they're floundering yet again for another season.
So these tournaments are always indicative to me of who is drafting well at the moment, because generally it's harder to make these teams, right? Yes. Now we can argue that nepotism is a thing with Team Canada, and actually in the U.S. as well. If you're in the USHL, you're much more likely to go to this tournament. But I think the Blackhawks had some 12 prospects in the tournament. The Vegas Golden Knights had 8 or 9. There were a couple teams that were up.
Golden Knights to me were the standout in terms of drafting.
We had 4. Shurashev.
Shurikov or
Samarukov was our other defenseman in the tournament that was worth watching, other than Bouchard. He was actually pretty decent. He was the Russian top pairing. He is a very smooth skater. He can walk the blue line. He has a good shot. He played pretty well. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. Other than him, there was Evan Bouchard, and then nobody really worth mentioning for the Oilers.
Yeah, Phil. Who I'm trying to think, Phil
Kemp made the goal line saving play where he slapped against the post and went out. But other than that, he wasn't great. And then I think we had one other play in the tournament.
We can't even.
Yeah, Samarukov had 4 points in 7 games.
He was pretty good.
Respectable.
He was pretty good.
Oh yeah, another disappearing act player was Eli Tolvanen.
Yeah, true enough. He had some real hype around him last year. And
even with the Finnish team, what do you think about in the semis and the finals? I didn't watch either of them. Of Uro Vakanainen. He's drafted by the Boston Bruins. I've heard good things, but I don't see it in the stat line.
He was pretty good in the gold medal game. He was throwing hits. He was around the play. He was making good plays. He disappeared in the semifinals. He wasn't really very good. And Ray Ferraro was even saying that he needed to get going because he wasn't doing anything.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, and honestly, this tournament was a weird-ass tournament because this is one of those cases where, legitimately speaking, if Canada had gone with Morgan Frost as a penalty shot shooter in that OT, or No Dobson's stick didn't shatter, leading to the goal against, legitimately Canada would have won gold.
Yeah.
Because it's a fairly easy semis. No offense to Swiss team. And that U.S. team really, I think the Russian team really choked it in the semis.
Mm-hmm. I thought the Russians were going to win.
I thought the Russian team was going to win too. I called it to you guys. I went Russian team was going to win after Canada got eliminated. But again, they surprised me because legitimately this is because we don't know the names that well. We don't really know the Russian team that well. But most Russian analysts were saying that this is actually the most talent that they've had in a roster since the last time they won a gold medal. So a bronze medal was actually a disappointment for them in this tournament.
Well, I just hope that Team Canada put a good team together for when they're in Edmonton Red Deer.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So, all right. So last thing, there were comments made by the CEO of the Stars last week saying that what did he say? That Ben and Seguin needed to get their...
They were basically...
Sorry?
Basically that they played like dog shit.
Yeah, that was it,
They're playing like dog shit and specifically calling them out.
Yeah. Benn and Seguin. They're saying that they weren't living under the contract. They weren't good enough for getting paid. Oh, excuse me. And then Benn and Seguin came out and said that we don't play for him. We play for the team.
Yeah. Jim Lights, that's his name.
Yeah.
CEO.
Yeah. So what do you guys make of that?
I'm standing with the NHLPA on this. James?
I don't know. I think it was really stupid for him to say anything. I mean, it might bring the players closer together, but holy shit, are they going to be pissed with management now?
It seems like that's kind of thing the CEO said in place of the owner.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. I don't know if they're trying to light a fire under their asses, but it's just...
It seems to have worked if they tried to light a fire.
Yeah, and you're also pissed off two of your star players, so I don't really know how that's going to go, but that was pretty dumb.
Even if they pissed them off, like Seguin and Jamie Benn are on fire right now when it comes to offense. But one thing, like NHLPA basically said that, like, yeah, like I get the fact that they can say that, but if like even Ben, the captain, or Seguin said anything legitimately even close to that about their organization or about the CEO or the owner, like that, their entire NHL careers are likely close to done, or they're done with the team.
Yeah,
like they're looking at contract termination.
It's hypocrisy in its finest. You're not wrong.
It is hypocrisy in its utmost finest. Like the union said in a statement, to say that Jim Light's conduct is unprofessional would be a gross understatement. This is not how professionals handle adversity, and I'm with him on that. I'm with them on that. I think it's childish and downright embarrassing if you're a fan of the team.
All right.
So that's pretty much all that we really need to discuss today. I know we're halfway through the Oilers season, so technically we should have done the halfway review today, but we'll save it for the next episode when we can
we don't really have a lot of time. Yeah.
God, I hope Shirley gets fired after this road trip.
When we can really take the time. So, yeah, today's January the 6th, so you can probably look for us sometime around the 20th or 19th or 20th, that weekend, hopefully. And we'll go from there. You know, hopefully the Oilers have picked it up by then, and we have a few more passing grades with the players.
All right, so, oh my God, oh man,
it's April Fools, everybody.
You know what? I'll give management a pass if it fires Shirley in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So with me today, I have Arun, otherwise known as Arun Took 5 on Reddit. I have James, Paul McCartney hyphen. I'm Sweet44722. This has been another episode of the Oilers Drop Podcast, number 67, I believe it is. Groundhog Day, because I'm sure we've used that one before appropriately. Have a great day. Try not to hate the Oilers game too much. Maybe watch some football instead. See you guys next time.